Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Falcon Focus podcast. We're outside the Falcons nest at the Student Union here on this Tuesday from 9:30 to 10, live on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean and listen through iTunes. My name is Matt Menzl, and on this week's edition, we talk 68th Annual CIT. That's this weekend in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Andrew Fratzke from the first place men's basketball squad, kind enough to join us, and he'll be in segment number 2. But we start things off by talking women's hockey, coming off a great weekend, a sweep of Aurora, and being joined by junior Issy Bilton. And Issy, first of all, thanks for being with us here this morning.
No problem.
Okay, great weekend. 4-1, 5-1 victories against Aurora. In your opinion, how are you guys able to get it done in such convincing fashion?
I think just a nice break off of school has been doing us a really big favor, honestly. No stress from school, and we kind of been working hard for the last 2 weeks, so I think this was a really good weekend because of that.
And again, the team has now won 3 of its last 4 games, and this is all coming after that traditional winter break where there is no game action between December 8th and January 11th. With that being said, what do you guys do to at least stay in the moment, stay in the season, even though there's no game action?
Our athletic trainer actually gives us workouts that we have to do over the break, so they're pretty much at-home workouts, body weight stuff, just so that we can do them at home, but that's kind of what we do. And then if we can get ice while we're home with our previous teams, then we try to do that too.
Do you have a lot of practices during that time, or are you literally away from?
We're away. We're all at home, yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So then does it become challenging? Okay, look, a couple of weeks ago, and you finally get back on the ice for game action against UW Superior. Mm-hmm. Is it challenging to kind of get back in that game mode, get back into that mindset?
It's a little bit, yeah. It helps. Well, the first week back, usually we get what we call bag skated, so they're pretty tough practices, but so I think that plays a big part in getting back into the game situation, but the first period back is always a little rusty for sure.
I'm guessing now 3 times through this cycle, it gets a little bit easier maybe. How about the first time it happens? Was that really new to you as far as your hockey career? Have you ever had kind of a stretch like that where you get about a month's time off from game action?
Probably not a month, maybe like a week for Christmas, but we're never really off for that long. So yeah, it was definitely new coming in freshman year. So
well, right now the team sits with 9 victories, 5 defeats, a couple of ties, and in conference play 5-3-2. When you kind of look at the first now 16 games, how would you summarize the season?
I think it's been going pretty well. Usually in the past we're in the middle of the pack, and that's kind of where we are right now. We're in a playoff spot, so that's all we really care about. I think there's some teams that we could have beat in the past, which we kind of just work towards beating better teams now, try to take points.
And you guys have a young team. I mean, there's only 3 seniors on the active roster. You know, as being one of the more veteran players, have you been pleased with the progress the team's been making from day one to the present? Yeah,
for sure. We have these things called captain's practices, so that's kind of where I look from our starting point, and since from then, it's been like so much progression, so it's awesome.
So in your opinion, what's been maybe the biggest change from day one to now? When you look at how the team is playing, is there one area you say, hey, we've really improved in special teams or offense, defense?
I would definitely say our offense. We have certain plays that we had to teach people, so now that they're coming together and it's flowing really well, and we're getting a lot of scoring opportunities more than we did before, so I'd probably say offense for sure.
You're one of the forwards on the team. What do you see, not only from a position standpoint, but as being one of the more experienced players, your role on this team being?
Well, I'm not really a goal scorer, so probably just trying to, as a center too, I'm trying to get out of our end, helping on our D, and trying to fuel kind of a forecheck going into the other end, I probably would say.
So in your opinion, outside of the experience, do you think that role has changed a lot from your freshman year to now?
I would say so. Usually freshman year, coach would kind of put my line out for more energy, kind of to get the games going a little bit, pick up the tempo, but now it's more for gameplay and trying to get a scoring opportunity and that kind of stuff. So I would say it's probably changed a bit.
And you handle some face-offs.
Yes.
And
yes.
You had 9 wins one day, 9 the next in that series against Aurora this past weekend. Is there a method to winning a face-off? I mean, is there? Do you have some kind of a trick of the trade that you go about?
I kind of try to pick and see who I'm against, and I usually let them go first, put their stick down first, and it also depends on what face-off we're at. So I like to win it with my backhand, but sometimes it doesn't work that way because you have to win it the other side. So pretty much I just see what they're doing, and then if I'm not winning face-offs throughout the game, I'll just tell my wingers, okay, I'm just going to tie her up, and then you come in and help me. So that's kind of really it, though.
Now, my biggest bone to pick, especially in men's hockey, is from an officiating standpoint, just drop the puck.
Yeah.
And you see so many times guys get thrown out of the face-off because they jump the gun. Do you have that problem sometimes? Where
Yes.
I mean, how do you time that? Because I know some officials are different. Everyone's different as when you drop the biscuit or not. But as far as that goes, how do you time it so that you're not jumping the gun and getting thrown out of the face-off?
Honestly, as soon as they have their hand there, I just put my stick where it's supposed to be. I think some people get kicked out because you have to keep it in this certain spot, your stick, and if they move it, then that's why you get kicked out. And honestly, I don't know. When he drops it, I'll just move my stick.
Yeah, just drop the puck.
Yeah.
Head coach Steve Fabili became the program's all-time winningest coach on January 11th with a thrilling overtime win against UW Superior. Tell us about Coach and what it's like to play for Coach Fabili.
He's a really good coach. He's definitely, you have to get to know him for sure. When I came in as a freshman, he's not very social, so you kind of have to get more comfortable with him. But throughout the years, he's grown on me more as a coach. So once you get to know him and then he gets to know you, you kind of build like a really good relationship with them. It's good. He's a great coach.
Speaking of milestones, and Coach Fabili has mentioned now the program's all-time winningest coach. For you, coming up on an anniversary of your first career collegiate goal, which came on January 27th, 2017 against Finlandia. Do you remember that goal? Do you remember that game at all?
I do, actually, yeah.
Do you remember, how would you describe that goal?
Well, it felt good because I don't really score a lot, so it was good to actually do that. I don't know, I kind of just shot it at the net and it went in, so I think it was a good kind of reboot for our line because we weren't really scoring that much either. So,
how about from a collegiate standpoint? Do you remember your first game as a Falcon, and how did that feel taking the ice as a collegiate athlete?
It was really exciting. I was really nervous. Didn't really know what was going to happen. And we had a bunch of pregame stuff that I didn't know about, so I was worried about getting those right. Not even about playing hockey. So, but yeah, it was really fun, but definitely nervous for sure.
You're from Canada.
Yes.
Why Concordia?
I kind of came here because Concordia let me take nursing as well as play hockey. A lot of schools at home, some might let you, but they don't make it that easy, or they don't actually let you take a hard program with a sport. So that's kind of why I came here.
And we'll talk about your nursing major in just a little bit, but hockey is enormous in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was your first exposure to the sport?
My first exposure, well, my family all watched it.
Okay.
I didn't really like hockey when I was little. I played soccer, and I was a dancer. And then my parents forced me to play in about grade 5, which was kind of late in Canada. And then I just liked it and kept playing, and then I stopped playing soccer and just kept playing hockey.
So at first, did you like it, or did it take a little
It took
while?
a little bit, especially because I didn't really know how to skate before either, so I obviously kept falling. So I liked watching it with my family, but I didn't really care too much about it. But then...
Did you guys have a favorite team to watch?
Yeah, the Leafs.
Is that still to this day?
Yeah, still the same, yeah.
Are you glad your parents kind of forced you to play hockey?
Yes, I am, yeah.
But no dance?
No.
You decided to throw dance away and
got rid
soccer?
of the dance, yeah.
In high school, you also played field hockey on
I
top
did.
of soccer, and there are a lot of similarities between the three sports: soccer, field hockey, ice hockey. You played field hockey here.
I did.
Year number 1, the inaugural season of the field hockey squad, 2016. What memories do you have from being a part of the first ever Falcon field hockey team?
It was a really cool team to be a part of. Definitely traveling to everywhere. With that team, we went everywhere. I'd say, when I think of field hockey, I just think of the physical conditioning that we were all in. It was crazy.
Did you have a favorite trip?
We went to Nashville, so that was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that.
So then you go from field hockey to ice hockey. You're a nursing major, at least this, back in 2016. How did you manage to manage all of that and then some?
I don't know, really. Honestly, I don't know. I think a lot of it was that I was surrounded by a lot of other people that were doing pretty similar stuff. I don't really know. I think I just kind of set certain expectations for myself to get things done at a certain time, and I kind of think I function better that way. So I don't know. But yeah.
Did you know you'd play field hockey when you arrived on campus, or did that kind of just come about?
It kind of came about when I came for my tour, because I met the field hockey coach when I was here for hockey, and then she asked me then, so I didn't originally come here for that, but...
So was it kind of hectic when you got to about October and the season started to crisscross?
Yeah, because I had to miss some hockey that first year, so I wasn't really... That was kind of tough. Yeah.
As far as nursing goes, why nursing? What prompted that interest?
I think what started that was I have a brother who spent a lot of time in the hospital, and he would come back and he would talk about his experience, and a lot of it fed off of how the nurses were. If it was bad, he would say, yeah, the nurse, she wasn't very nice. So I thought it was kind of cool that like the nurse alone could have that much of an impact on something. So that's kind of where that fed from. And then I always just liked helping out with people, and I've always liked science and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
You touched on it a little bit, okay, with your hockey, with nursing. I know there's a lot that is entailed in that major. What is the workload like, especially now as we get ready to start this second semester, as you not only, again, juggle hockey, but then your studies?
It's a lot, honestly. I'm lucky because like my two roommates, they're in nursing too, and they're in hockey, so we're kind of all in it together, and we'll remind each other if things are due, that kind of stuff. But it's definitely a lot, and your days get kind of long.
A lot of sleepless nights?
Yeah. We try to well, honestly, this past semester we've been in bed at like 10 o'clock every night, because that's just what you have to do, and then you get up at 6. So you have to. And yeah, just like long days going from practice to studying, and then pretty much going to bed as soon as you can. Yeah.
Well, rapid fire time now, as we get to know Izzy a little bit better here, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but if not hockey, what would be your next go-to sport?
Probably field hockey.
Is there a sport you have not played that you kind of wish you would have tried?
I think golf. I think I would like to try golf, yeah.
You think that would kind of screw up, you swing your hockey stick a certain way. Do you think it would kind of mess with your
I don't know.
swing
I've
a little bit?
A lot of hockey players play golf in the summer, so I'm not sure if it helps or
Have you tried golf at all?
Only mini golf.
How's your mini golf game?
It depends on the day.
Oh.
Yeah.
That windmill gets you every time, doesn't it?
Oh, yes,
Got to time it perfectly.
Yeah.
Kind of like dropping the puck. Favorite thing about hockey?
Favorite thing? Probably that I kind of like the cold, like playing in the cold, but it's a reliable cold, so you know how cold it's going to be. There's no wind chill or anything. Probably just like that, I think.
Have you ever played a hockey game? I know big now, at various levels, playing an outdoor game. Have you ever played an outdoor game?
Not a game, but like I've played outside, but
Okay.
not an official game. No, yeah.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Why?
Because there's lots of cookies and everyone's together. And you can go outside. It's winter, and you can play pond hockey, and yeah.
I assume with the break you got an opportunity to go back home.
I did.
How long were you back home?
I was there for 2.5 weeks about. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was really good.
Favorite pro sports team? The Leafs?
The Leafs, yeah.
Nickname?
Izzy's kind of my nickname.
Hobbies?
Walking my dog.
What kind of dog?
He's a chocolate lab.
Okay. How old?
Yeah. I think he's about 9 now.
Nice.
Yeah, his name's Oakley.
Oakley?
Yeah. I do yoga, actually. Yoga's fun. Music, I listen to music. I like to go to concerts with my dad.
What kind of music?
Honestly, I can honestly say all types of music.
Okay.
My favorite concerts to go to would be probably country. And I probably listen to mostly country and rap and stuff.
Now, I've asked this with other athletes who have said country. Do you listen to country to pump yourself up before a game, or what's your go-to to pump yourself up? Everyone's different, so you never know.
Probably rap or hip-hop or whatever it's called, yeah.
Favorite food?
Mashed potatoes.
Now, you mentioned one of the changes when you got here was the whole pregame, situation on the ice. Do you have a pregame routine? Is there a certain way you go about getting ready for a game?
Yeah, usually I have a coffee.
Before a game?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little one. Like, not a lot. Just
Okay.
a little to say that I had some,
You need the caffeine, energy? Or
Yeah.
is it just the pick-me-up?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, obviously, we get to the rink, and I take my stick, and if I have to, I like check all my equipment. So if I have to like change up my laces so they don't break in the middle of the game, I'll do that. And then I usually go talk to the athletic trainers, and they usually have a riddle, so I try to solve the riddle. And then
How's that go?
it's hard.
Is it?
Yeah, I used to get them.
Even after having that cup of coffee?
Yeah, even
Jeez.
after the coffee. And then I'll usually watch my teammates play spike ball or super ball, like soccer ball. But I don't play.
Why not?
I don't know. I just like watching
Have
it.
you ever tried to jump in? Okay.
Yeah. I used to, in freshman year, I would play, but now I just kind of watch.
Are you superstitious at all? Like if something goes well one game, you can't change from whatever you did prior to that game?
Kind of, but not like overly superstitious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Why?
I don't know.
You have a lucky number?
Kind of. 19 is kind of a lucky number.
How does that, I mean, I know that's your jersey number, but how does that come about being a lucky number?
It's kind of run down through my whole family. So I think my grandpa wore it when he played football. So then my mom wore it when she played hockey. So then I kind of just took that.
So when you
So
came
now
here,
it's my
you
number.
said 19 is what I want.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show or type of shows?
Friends for sure is my favorite TV show.
Still.
Still,
Okay.
yeah, I watch it every night before I go to bed. Favorite type of shows, probably just like an easy watch, like Friends.
And finally, to date, your top athletic moment
Here or just in general?
in general.
Top athletic moments. In high school, my field hockey team won, I guess what you guys would call state. We called
Okay.
it, like provincials.
Okay.
So we won that, so that was pretty cool.
Nice stuff.
Yeah.
Women's hockey coming off that sweep of Aurora this past week, and will be home for 4 straight beginning this weekend. Friday, St. Scholastica at 7:30. We'll also play St. Scholastica on Saturday at 4 p.m. from the Ozaki Ice Center. Izzy, thanks a lot for your time. We'll see you this weekend at the Ozaki Ice Center.
No problem. Thanks so much.
When we come back on the Falcon Focus podcast, we switch gears and talk men's basketball with Andrew Fratzke. Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast, as we switch gears to men's basketball and the 68th annual CIT coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and being joined by senior forward Andrew Fratzke. And you look, not to look past Wednesday's home game against Dominican at 7 p.m. from the John Blue Fieldhouse, but okay, the 68th annual CIT. For those that maybe aren't familiar with the Concordia Invitational Tournament, how would you describe what CIT is?
Yeah, CIT is definitely different. I mean, it's definitely a Concordia thing. If you're part of Concordia, you know it. And I mean, just to describe it to other people, I would say it's 4 schools, like all supporting each other and obviously supporting themselves, and just a bunch of teams having fun and trying to win. And it's more of a bragging right thing, I would say, between Concordias. But I don't know. I've been a part of 3 of them so far, and it's always a really good time.
The atmosphere is, in my opinion, second to none. And I can remember a CIT championship game years ago. It was Concordia, Wisconsin, Concordia, Chicago, down at River Forest, and you couldn't hear anything. I mean, it was just jamming. Is that an adjustment to make? Because, there are games, and let's be honest, there are some gyms you go to and you can hear crickets. And there are other gyms where, it's loud, but this is almost a whole nother level. Is there an adjustment you guys have to make in just how you go about preparing for the noise?
Yeah, that's one big thing that coach always gets on. The freshmen, when we were coming in, just telling you, just be ready. It's going to be different. It's going to be crazy. And honestly, it's a lot more fun playing in front of those people. You kind of feed off their energy. Coming from some winter games where maybe there's not a lot of people in the stands and stuff, to go into that, it's just totally different. And I don't know, it's just something that you just got to be a lot closer as a team, like communicating and huddling up, and just because it is that loud. But I don't know, I feel like we all feed off it as players and stuff, and for me, I like the energy.
Your first year and talking about, okay, you're at CIT, what were your expectations and how did that first CIT experience meet or I guess exceed those expectations?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, freshman year we were at Concordia Chicago, and first game we played against Concordia Chicago, and so with their home crowd, that was probably the craziest CIT game I've been a part of, either that or the championship that year. But like with them being the home team and just playing against the home team, it's definitely going to be crazier. And I don't know, it was just, as a freshman coming in there, I was just trying not mess it up for the other players or like seniors and stuff like that. But no, it was definitely crazier than anything I was going to expect. And honestly, it kind of depends on who you're playing and what game you're in. But no, that was probably one of the wildest games I've been in, that and then the championship that year where we lost by 1. But no, it's fun.
You guys have been right there the last couple of years in the CIT championship. If this program is to win a 4th CIT title, in your opinion, what are keys to victory? Obviously, it all depends on how the bracket plays out too, but in your opinion, what needs to happen this weekend if this team is to win a CIT title?
Yeah, obviously we play Nebraska first, so in order to win or make it to the championship, we're going to have to beat them. But, I mean, they're a different team than they've been in the last couple of years, and I feel like in the past they've been a lot bigger and stuff and tougher, and I don't know, this year it's just a lot different. I feel like we're a little more battle-tested coming off of like Whitewater and Oshkosh, and I think one of the biggest things is they're not going to be any different than teams we've already played, and you just kind of got to treat it like a normal game and just kind of be tougher than they are.
Do you find CIT being helpful in the sense that, okay, it's a nice break from conference for a weekend, but do you see that, you know, the energy, the competition, are you guys able to feed off that and carry that through the stretch run once you get back into conference play in a conference tournament?
Yeah, I mean, obviously during winter, like we were saying, like classes aren't in session, there aren't as many people on campus, so some of the gyms you go to are a little more dead, and it's just kind of like a nice little break from like the usual routine of conference game, kind of dead gyms, and then you get to just pick up. And I feel like in the years past we've kind of carried off of that, and then with classes being back, students coming back, it just kind of picks up. And I think one of the biggest things is just playing in front of a bigger crowd come playoff times and come like conference tournament championship. That's kind of more of the feel, and just having this in the middle of the season, it's kind of nice to get used to it.
So what's your favorite thing about CIT?
I don't know. Like I said, I like playing in front of a lot more people, and you kind of feed off the energy, but it's kind of nice. I like the brunch that we have. Just kind of you get all the teams together, and I don't know, people that know me know that I like to eat, and so that's always one of my favorite things, just kind of everyone dressing up, looking nice, and just coming together to eat.
Let me ask you before we get to the rapid fire segment down the road, your favorite food? What's your go-to?
I'd probably say I like a good homemade lasagna.
Ooh.
A little different, but my mom makes a good lasagna, and it's probably one of my favorites.
Sounds good.
That or you can't go wrong with Cold Stone ice cream.
This is true. Now for the Falcon men's basketball team, their last CIT title, 2013 for the women. They won a CIT title in Ann Arbor back in 2007. So CIT gets underway on Friday. The women's team will be underway at 12 noon. That's Central Time against Concordia, Nebraska. The men will follow at 2 o'clock Central Time. They're on Eastern Time out there in Michigan, but Friday against Concordia, Nebraska for the men as well. CWFalcons.com for more information. Let's talk about this season, though, and it's so far so good. 11-5, 11-2 in the conference, good for first place. Your thoughts on how the season's played out to this point?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's been pretty good so far. Like, there's been a couple games where we know we've kind of slipped up on, and as a team, like, we know we can do better. And I think the biggest thing for us this year is just knowing that we're not the best that we can be, and like, coach has been on us, and like, just we got to keep getting tougher, keep getting better, because like I would say our first half of the season was a little weaker, and so we just got to know, like, yeah, we started off good, but we just got to keep playing like we've been playing, or else it could be a lot different. So that's kind of the biggest thing. Us sitting at top, I mean, it feels nice, obviously, but we got a lot of big games, a lot of tough teams coming up, so we just can't like settle and can't just get complacent, you know.
Take us back through this last week. I mean, you talk about a challenging couple of games. Last Tuesday, a victory against Lakeland, 65-64. The game at 8 ties, 15 lead changes. Saturday, beat Rockford, able to overcome a 19-point first-half deficit, won the game 90-83. Take us through those games, how you guys were able to pull those two victories out.
Yeah, both games were completely different. I would say the Lakeland game was a lot slower. Like, took us a while to even get on the scoreboard starting off. First couple minutes going scoreless, but I mean, it's kind of good having those kind of games, knowing that we can win in different ways. It's not always going to be a 95-90 game or something, which we kind of in the past have been used to. But just having those close games down the stretch and like getting a little more experience, because come tournament time, it's going to be like a basket here, basket there. It could be the difference between the end of the season or keep playing. So, I mean, obviously with Lakeland, it came down to a last shot, and we were fortunate to play a good defense and just get out of there with a win. Obviously, every conference game on the road is going to be tough, and Lakeland's always a tough place to team. They're a tough place to play, and they're a good team. And then Rockford, I mean, that was just a totally different beast, dropping down by 20 to start the game. Obviously, we were all a little shocked and got to the bench, and coach just really called us out for, I mean, we were pretty weak to start the game. So just knowing that we can be down and come back and just never really give up on the team or each other, that was really big for us.
Against Rockford, you had 16 points, 11 rebounds, your third double-double of the year. This is an experienced team, too. When you look up and down the roster, a lot of these guys have been, in basketball battle for a couple of years together. How close is this team? And when you do have situations like Saturday, I'm guessing there's no panic because you guys have been there, done that in the past.
I don't know if we necessarily have been down that much and then come back. So I would say as a team, like, we just kept, like, pulling each other together. I know one thing that coach has been on us about is, or he calls it a kill, which is get 3 stops in a row. So we were doing a good job of, like, Jake was pulling everyone together and like, all right, let's get a kill. And you string a couple kills together, and we were able to kind of claw back into the game. But like you said, like, we have 4 seniors. We've been playing together for, 4 years, but like 3 years, like really meaningful minutes. And I mean, we've been through a lot of big games, so we all have a lot of trust in each other. And so just knowing that we're all on the court together, and then we got a lot of really good guys stepping in, fitting in roles, and taking big shots too. It's like we know what each other are capable of and what we're capable of together. So
let me ask you this, okay? So obviously this team has come back from deficits in the past, maybe not 19 points, and you mentioned, okay, we were surprised falling behind that quickly. Does it take a coach to fire you guys up like you said Coach Cassidy did? Even with an experienced group, you're shell-shocked a little bit. Does it take a coach to kind of bring you guys all back to, hey, you know what, there's a lot of time left, we can play comeback? Or, again, is it just, hey, we're an experienced bunch, we just got to settle down and play our basketball?
It's a little bit of both. I think, like, going into the game, like, obviously, like, we know what we're capable of. So, I mean, I think we were all a little surprised to all of a sudden look up at the scoreboard and be like, all right, we're down. Like, come on, we got to do something. But I don't know. For me, it kind of helps to have a coach or somebody just get on you and just, like, really call you out and just kind of say it how it is. And for us, it was kind of a big eye-opener looking up at the scoreboard, being down that early and that much. And so, I don't know, it's kind of a little bit of both. Like, we know what we can do, and then coach knows what we should be doing and aren't doing, so gets us to do that.
You're now the program record holder for career rebounds, defensive rebounds, blocks. You're 3 offensive rebounds away from the number 1 spot in that category. You're 95 points away from 1,000. When you start hearing some of these accolades, or these records, what's it mean to you that when your time is up at Concordia for basketball, that your name's going to be in that record book? You're going to be among the elite players that have come through Concordia, and I mean, you're leaving your mark. I
mean, it's nice to hear that and everything, and it's kind of like cool to like look back and just like, yeah, I've been playing a lot of games and like had some success here. Like, I've had a really great time these last couple of years playing, and like I said, just playing with everyone. But I mean, some of the more meaningful things that we haven't gotten would be a lot bigger to me. Like you said, like a CIT we haven't won yet, conference championship. So like the individual things are great, and they're kind of nice to look back at and just kind of like, I don't know, be able to see that. But at the end of the day, like, if we graduate with no conference championships, no CIT, it's going to be disappointing. So that's kind of our main goal right now, and we all know as seniors, like, if we want to leave our mark, we'd rather leave it as a team than individually. So I don't know, for me personally, like, that was never one thing I really have thought of this year, like, bringing that up. Like, yeah, it was cool, it's like nice kind of hearing that, but that's never been a concern of us as a team or really anyone individually. And so I don't know.
Now, mention you're closing in at 1,000 points collegiately. You did score 1,000 points back in your high school days. Well, I read you also played soccer, football, baseball. You ran track. Was basketball always your top sport?
I would say, yeah, it's always been the sport I played the most of, and like just playing it like my whole career, I guess, since like third grade or whatever. But I always was really appreciative of my parents. Like, they never pushed one sport, or they really gave me the opportunity to do everything. Like, I played hockey up until 8th grade. They just kind of, whatever I wanted to do, they were all for it and driving me to games and everything. So, but yeah, basketball is always, obviously it's the one I chose. It's always kind of been my favorite, and I feel like it's just kind of like the easiest to play. You can just kind of, as long as you have a ball and a hoop. But
You mentioned you played soccer. You're 6'7" now. Were you 6'7" when you played soccer?
No, I stopped playing soccer after my freshman year, and I switched to football sophomore year. But like, as a freshman in high school, I was like 5'10". Like, people don't believe when I tell them that I played point guard in high school, and like my team still makes fun of me like when I say that. But yeah, I was a lot shorter in high school. My senior year, I was probably 6'4", 6'5", but I've grown since coming to college. So I've kind of had to transition from what I was as a shooter in high school to not a shooter in college.
But just out of curiosity, what position did you play in soccer?
I was like midfield.
Okay. Can you imagine if you were 6'7" playing soccer, though? I mean, to put in perspective, I looked this up. For the Concordia men's soccer team, tallest player is 6'3". That's midfielder Will King. You'd be a 6'7" goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't know. Watching the soccer games, I think that's one sport I'd be terrible at.
Really?
Or the worst at if I played.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just the speed of the game and the ball control that they have is, I don't know, something I never really was that good at.
Well, also read you have 4 siblings, including a twin sister. Does she look like you?
No, that's what we always kind of joke. I stole all the nutrients from her and the height, but no, she's probably 5'6", or she's a good foot shorter than me. Yeah.
Who's older?
I'm older too.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be a twin?
It's fun. I mean, me and my twin, we're really close. I'm close with all my siblings, but you kind of have like that weird little twin connection at times, they say, and I don't know, she calls me Pogogo and I'm Pokey, so like, I don't know, that's just something a little different than that we have, that any of my other siblings have, and it's fun. I mean, she stayed back in Winona, but she's coming up to CIT and she watches all our games online. She's probably my biggest fan.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Does she have that ability, like if you sense pain or you have pain, can she sense that, like that you're hurting? Can she sense when you're?
I don't know if that's really a thing, but I don't know. Like,
well,
like you said, growing up.
See, I'm a twin too. My sister claims that when I'm hurt, she can sense it, and then she'll text me like, "Is everything all right?"
And maybe she knows, but
I think she's making it up. But I'm just saying that supposedly it's out there.
Yeah, growing up, like, I mean, obviously we've been in every class together since kindergarten, so I don't know. You kind of get a little annoyed of each other, but at the same time, you're just like, you know everything about each other, so it's fun.
That's awesome. She's your #1 fan. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Really any Will Ferrell movie. Probably Step Brothers.
Okay. Have you seen his new one that came out?
I haven't.
Okay.
I heard it's all right.
All right. Favorite type of music?
Probably just hip hop, kind of general radio music. I don't know. I'm pretty just whatever with that.
Now, do you have a pregame, routine?
Yeah, for me, I guess pregame, I just kind of, my biggest thing is I just want to get loose and stretch out. So I'll go in like an hour early, and that's basically all I do. Do that, and then just a bunch of shots within like 2 feet of the hoop, because that's basically what I do in the game. So just kind of get my touch down and just get a little rhythm going.
Are you superstitious at all?
I'm not superstitious, but a little stitious. I don't know if like something's working, you kind of go back with it. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like it's whatever. You gotta. I'm not too superstitious. I like to keep a routine though.
It sounds like you've tried almost every sport you can think of, but is there a sport that you haven't tried that maybe in your mind you're like, you kind of need to try that at some point?
I haven't tried. I don't know. I really, like Issy was saying golf, but I've tried golf and not too great at that. But
how about tennis? 6'7" at tennis.
I think tennis would be fun. I've hit the ball around a little bit, but I don't know. I've got a good appreciation for that, and I don't know if I'd be that good at that.
Top athletic accomplishment?
I think one of my favorite moments at CUW was when a sophomore year we beat Benedictine at home. Mm-hmm. It was like the Mel's Day, big day, and they were undefeated. We were the only team to beat them that year in conference, so they were like the runners-up. So that was kind of like that was a huge win for us, and probably one of our bigger wins outside of like tournament games.
Favorite pro sports team?
I growing up, it was like Minnesota Twins, but I've kind of fallen off of following baseball a lot more and just kind of being over here. I don't know. I really appreciate the Bucks and just living in Milwaukee now.
Is it tricky, Winona being kind of right there by the border? Is it tricky in that community as far as what team you root for? Because yes, Milwaukee is still a good distance. Green Bay is a distance, but it seems like you have a lot of crossover there because
yeah, especially right on the border. Like I'm a Vikings fan, but there are a lot of Packer fans in Winona, and I mean they're all over the place. Too many of them, but no. But being over here, it's like I live with four Packer fans, so I'm used to it.
And you haven't even become just a slightly a Packer fan?
No,
not at all?
I've cheered for the Brewers. I've cheered for the Bucks. We will not cheer
not
for the Packers. No.
We'll get you to wear a cheese at some point, I hope. Hobbies?
I don't know. Back home, we like to play. Like we'll play like board games, Mexican Train. We'll play cards. My mom's really big into that. Just kind of hang out. One hobby we have back at home is we'll all just come around and we just sit around the table and talk. Like my friends will come over and we just sit in the kitchen, and that's kind of like our go-to thing.
Major?
I'm accounting.
So plans after college?
So I actually 2 days ago accepted a job, so I'll be living in Milwaukee, working
Congrats.
downtown. Thank you. And yeah, so.
Before, as we wrap things up, okay, CIT's this weekend, but first you guys have a conference game Wednesday, 7 o'clock, John Book Fieldhouse against Dominican. You beat Dominican on January 7th, 92-52. To wrap it all up, just kind of give your thoughts on what we can expect in round 2 between the Falcons and Stars.
I mean, obviously every game is different, but I think, if we play the game we can play, we should have a good game, and can't take anyone lightly every day. January in the NAC, as my coach always says, you never know what's going to happen, but so I'm looking forward to it, though. We got to take care of business, like you said, before CIT and kind of get a little momentum, carry that on.
Well, Andrew, thanks for your time. Best of luck this week and going forward.
Thank you. It should be fun.
Absolutely. And again, we thank both Izzy and Andrew for joining us here this week. Note that next Tuesday we have a new start time. We will start at 9:45 and go from 9:45 to 10:15. We also return to the cafeteria as the second semester gets underway. So best of luck to our student athletes, all students for that matter, as they get ready to begin semester number 2. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon. You've been tuned into the Falcon Focus Podcast.